All right, welcome in. I'm glad that you're here. So it's been about a week since I last saw you. Why don't you let me know what's been going on this past week?
Well, I don't know. I talked to my partner, and
Okay.
I don't know. I thought things were getting better. Like I thought that I was starting to trust him more. But this past week, anytime he goes on his phone, I'm like hyper aware of it and like kind of watching him the whole time to see if he's doing anything suspicious. Like not looking at his phone, but like looking at him and seeing
Okay.
if he's doing anything. That just gives me a lot of anxiety of like, what's he doing? Who's he talking to? And sometimes, because we've talked about this before, but like, sometimes I'll be like, who are you talking to? And he'll just tell me. And other times it's like, oh, I'm just talking to, his friend, John, or something about fantasy football. And then it's like, well, is this really about fantasy football? Is this really you're talking to John?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we go to bed at night, like normally we like cuddle or whatever while we watch our show, and then I don't know if this is because like he's really into football right now because it started back up, but he just like has his phone out and he's watching the game with his headphones in, and like he'll be texting people throughout that, so it's like we don't even have that time to like have like I don't know like bond or whatever.
Sure.
And so I guess maybe that's part of why I'm getting more, I don't know, anxiety. Like, I don't know, like suspicious because we're not having that time where we are like not physically intimate, but just like touching each other in a non sexual way. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Okay, so like, I don't know. I don't know how to like get my brain to not freak out when he's on his phone because when I found out that he had been cheating on me, that's how I found out was looking through his phone. And I'm not gonna look through his phone because like I don't want to. Like it gives me like I'll start shaking if I start thinking about looking through his phone because for one I don't want to, and for two like I'm so afraid that I'll find something again.
Okay.
So I guess I just don't know how to like get over those thoughts.
Okay. I think you hit on some very interesting things just in that little bit of
Mm-hmm.
information you just gave me. So, one thing that struck me is you said that you're watching him.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even watching the phone.
Right.
You're watching him, which leads me to believe that you're watching his facial expressions. Are they changing based on what he's doing on the phone? When his facial expressions change, do your thoughts tend to change with what his face looks like?
I mean, yeah, because if he's looking at whatever and then he starts smiling, I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to?
Uh huh.
That's making you smile, or
Okay.
and it's not even just like his facial expressions. Like if he's on his phone or whatever and it's in front of him, and then I go by him, if he like places it face down, or if he like I don't know, just moves it in a way where I can't see what's on it,
Mm hmm.
then I'm immediately like, oh, he's doing something.
Yeah, that it makes you suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, that would bring up a feeling of, extreme anxiety and mistrust.
Yeah.
If, you said in the past that is how you found out that he was being unfaithful was because of what you found on his phone.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like he told me. It's not like he gave me the respect of, like, just telling me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I had to snoop and find out because you can't just
Exactly.
fucking tell me. And, like,
Exactly. So what I'm hearing is a lot of, um, a lot of anxiety that it's happening again. And the anxiety is coming from the fact that he's on the phone. He's not giving you the attention that you're needing. Not even, like you said, the sexual attention, but just even the affection
Mm-hmm.
that you're wanting. So that's making the anxiety even greater. Him placing the phone down or moving it so you can't see it, the different facial expressions, um, the fact that, he hasn't been honest with you in the past. And there was one other thing I'm trying to think of what it was that you said, and it was so good. I'm trying to think of what it was though. Um, oh my gosh, what was it? See, this happens all the time to me, and I can't think of what it was, but it was so good. It was kind of like a light bulb moment. But
Mm-hmm.
um, it, oh, thank you. And it also sounds like there is some anger coming out too
Mm.
from you. Like it sounds like you are getting frustrated and angry with him
Yeah, I'm
for doing this
definitely
because.
angry. Because, like, we've talked about it, and
Mhm.
I don't know, like, I even told him that, like, I'm having all this anxiety and, like, I'm feeling, like, him pull away or feeling like a distance in our relationship. And he kind of turned it around and was like, no, there's nothing. Like, he assured me that there was nothing going on, but then he also, like, made it seem like I was being a lot in a sense. Like, I wasn't respecting that he has other things going on, which, like, I get that he has other stuff going on, but when I'm feeling insecure, I need more affirmation that we are okay. Like, I need more than just, uh, yeah, I made dinner for everybody, or more than just, like, oh, well, we can spend 10 minutes talking together. Like, that's not enough when I'm feeling that way.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, and since we had that conversation, nothing has changed.
When was that conversation that you had with him?
Like a week and a half ago.
Okay.
And so I thought that this past weekend with the football stuff, like, I thought it would be different. I thought he wouldn't go on it as much,
Mm.
or he wasn't gonna be like doing that each night that there's football. Like, I get there's so much fucking football, but I also don't care.
Right.
And so I thought it would be different, but it was really just the same.
Extreme frustration.
Mm.
Yeah, there's definitely a mixture happening of emotions.
Yeah.
There's that mixture of frustration and of anxiety, and maybe even a little sadness in there too, because you mentioned another thing about, I'm not going to look through his phone.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, because I don't want to find anything.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, because last time that I found something, it just, like, completely destroyed me. Because I thought at that point that we had been in a great place. And so now, when I'm feeling like we're not in a great place, like, the chance of me finding something would just be. Because I don't even know what I would do. And that's also why I don't want to know. Like, I do want to know, but I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's that anticipation of getting your heart broken kind of thing.
Right.
And so there's that residual sadness, I would say, from having gone through that in the first place, but also this sadness that we're not in a good place because I miss when we were.
And that's understandable in its own way. There was a loss that happened.
Mm-hmm.
There was that loss of trust that you had for him. And I want you to, recognize how big of a deal it was that you allowed him to stay a part of your life after that trust was broken. Because that was a huge violation of, your safety with him
Mm-hmm.
was gone when that happened. And for you to allow yourself to be vulnerable again, to allow him to come back and remain there, that puts you in an extremely vulnerable place. And it's no wonder why, like you said, well, we were in a good place before and this happened. If we're not in a good place now and I'm having these feelings, how do I know that? I mean, there's got to be something going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to see why those negative thoughts are just running rampant through your mind at the moment.
Yeah, like it's making it hard to sleep. It's making it hard to like function when I'm at home because when he's home with me, then like I feel like I'm not doing other things that I normally would be doing because I'm busy looking at him being
Mm-hmm.
on his phone.
You're having to hyper focus and fixate on what he is doing.
Yeah, and it doesn't even help calm me down, so I don't know why. It's not like I'm looking at him and getting reassured, you know. It's
Right.
like I'm looking at him and my anxiety is just growing and growing.
I think in a way your mind has kind of tricked you into thinking that that is a good coping skill for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is if I look, well, that's going to put my mind at ease. I'm going to know, like, oh, at least he's on his phone, but he's not doing anything because he's right next to me, so I know he's not going to do anything. However, there's the double-edged sword, is because your mind at the same time is also telling you, well, we don't know what he's doing though.
Mm-hmm.
We can't see the screen.
Exactly.
He says he's not talking to anybody else, but how do we know who he's talking to? So your mind is, it's really playing it's going back and forth on you right now, and I'm sensing an insane amount of confusion too. Like, girl, you're going through it. You're going through everything right now.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely not a fun place to be.
no, I can imagine not. And I really, really think we're going to let's start implementing some cognitive behavioral skills. And we're going to start getting some of those negative and maladaptive thoughts. We're going to start nipping them in the bud.
Okay.
All right.